Could you guarantee a video to go viral?
I don't think YouTube's always the best choice, honestly. I'm a huge fan of TikTok. New channels are just so cooked right now. No one's gonna care because people have seen it a billion times already. You're not gonna do it better than the millionaires that have made that video already. Who are you gonna sell to, like some kids?
Does retention matter?
All right, I've had enough. I'll leave. Don't matter. CTR needs to be 10% to blow up.
2 words that YouTubers or YouTube strategists can use is, it depends. So, what's your name, occupation, and iPhone password?
iPhone password? I'm not gonna tell you that, but my name is Nate Curtis. I'm known on YouTube as Nate Wealth, or a lot of people mispronounce it and say N8 Wealth, and my occupation is YouTube and social media strategist.
Awesome. And what are some of the results that you've gotten on YouTube with all your channels over the years?
So I always eyeball it at about 30 million views or so. Can I share my screen? There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, so I like to eyeball it at around 30 million views. I've been on YouTube for about 4 or so years now, and I would say in terms of results, I'm most famous for my personal YouTube channel, which I blew up with the very first video, getting over 200,000 views, and have now grown it to be one of the top personal brands in the YouTube growth space at about 75,000 subscribers. And more recently, I helped launch Belinda's channel. With Belinda's channel, I was able to help her grow to around 50,000 subscribers in about 5 to 6 months with only about 12 uploads. The 11th and 12th videos both got over 1 million views, went super viral, and amongst those 2 case studies, I have plenty others that, I've done throughout the years.
That's awesome. And what are you currently doing on YouTube besides the Nate Wealth channel?
So the Nate Wealth channel I'm doing on the side. My main sort of thing that I do is I am, like I said, a YouTube and social media strategist. So I take on clients, I take on work where I'm basically running people's YouTube channels, and more broadly recently I'm looking to expand my skill set into more things like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and just kind of have a more holistic approach to social media as opposed to just kind of focusing on YouTube, which has been my strength for a lot of years. I'm looking to maybe diversify a little bit.
Okay, a little more well-rounded. Why do you want to expand more into these other platforms?
There's just more opportunities for me, and in terms of like my personal growth, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity there to just get better at more things. And in terms of where I see myself going in the future, I think it opens up so many more opportunities for me if I can just have a more well-rounded skill set and get used to these other platforms as well.
It's an interesting perspective. A lot of people we talk to here always all about YouTube, so seeing you want to expand to these other platforms and get good at them is it's an interesting philosophy.
I mean, the other thing too is that a YouTube strategist is it's obviously a really useful role, but again, where I maybe see myself going in the future, a lot of these more like corporate roles that people hire for, they're not usually YouTube centric, because a brand's not just going to be on YouTube. Usually like a larger brand is going to have Twitter, they're going to have TikTok, they're going to have Instagram, they're going to have Facebook, they're going to have Reddit, Quora, the list goes on way beyond YouTube. And even if, YouTube's this powerful thing, YouTube's so good for lead gen, which it is, you want to be well-rounded as a brand. So from my perspective, if I can just get skilled at more things, it's only really going to help me going forward, because I do see YouTube as a strength. Other platforms, I have some room to grow, so I'd like to really grow in those areas.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. What do you think is the next best platform after YouTube, though?
I mean, I would say YouTube's the best platform for certain cases. I'm not going to sit here and say YouTube is the best, don't use anything else, because YouTube's strengths are that, long-form content is just huge. If you are a business owner, I'm not saying you have to be a business owner, but if you are a business owner, YouTube is just incredible for lead gen, because you can basically, you get viewers, they watch a 10-minute video of yours, maybe they watch another one, and they watch 4 or 5 year videos maybe. They're way more qualified and warm than they would be if you just hit them up with a cold email, or they found you through a TikTok, because you've just given them 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes worth of value. Now they've warmed up to you so much more. And if you are trying to book calls, or you have a lead magnet with an email list, or whatever you're doing as a business owner, if you have viewers coming into your channel watching your videos, they're just warming up to you so much easier, and it's just less work on your end. Because also YouTube organically is gonna get those viewers to your video or recommend your video to those viewers. So it's like it's less work for you, and it's a lot cheaper, I'd say, than paid ads if you're really doing it correctly. For other people though, I don't think YouTube's always the best choice, honestly, which is another reason why I want to diversify, right? If your goal is to reach a mass market as quick as possible and just simply like get brand exposure for whatever you're doing, like maybe short form is good for you.
Yeah.
Like imagine if you've got like if you're selling t-shirts, like it's not like you're going to make a 20-minute YouTube video about how to make t-shirts and then be like, wow, I just got 10,000 qualified leads from my $20 t-shirt business. Like that makes no sense. You'd rather have 1 million people, because anyone can spend $20 on a t-shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess to answer that question, it's a bit long-winded. I mean, every platform has its advantage. I like TikTok, but you've heard the news. You're American too, right?
Yep.
You've heard the news. Maybe TikTok gets banned, and then TikTok's not the best because TikTok's not in the U.S. TikTok's definitely not the second best. But for now, I'm a huge fan of TikTok, honestly.
Okay. It's interesting. Very interesting. So you talked briefly about working with clients and everything. Did you have a business off of YouTube previously?
Yeah. So honestly, so Nate Wealth was my second YouTube channel, and I started it not because I had this grand idea of like, wow, YouTube's good for lead generation. I can make a sales funnel. Like I was like 16. I was so new to like that whole idea of using YouTube that way. Really what it was I had a game development channel beforehand, and I was growing that, pretty nicely, especially for how young I was. And I started making like good money off of it, like, especially for how young I was again. And
Right.
I had people older than me basically saying like, well, why don't you make a YouTube channel for young people about, how to grow their YouTube channels and like manage their finances and stuff? Because they didn't know anyone else doing without being as humble. Not trying to brag, but they didn't know other people doing what I was doing like at my age. So they're like, why don't you do this? So I did more research, and I found that all the big players in the space, like like the Finzars, the Hillier Smiths, the Film Booths, like all these guys were killing it and continue to kill it. The only thing was, I noticed, and just anecdotally as well, like people that I talk to, people I talk to in person, online, like most of the people that want to start YouTube channels are pretty young, and all these big players in the space were not really speaking to those young people as well as they could, right? Like a vidIQ video or a Nick Nimmin video, like those are super, super helpful. But those guys, like whoever's, the on-camera personality for vidIQ or Nick or even Finzard, Film Booth, like any of these guys, they're not like 18, and a lot of 18-year-olds are coming to these videos to learn, right? So I kind of
Right.
saw the opportunity to just come in and maybe relate a lot more to the largest demographic of that niche, and then just I basically remove my competition, right? Because if I'm the only person making content about how to grow on YouTube for a younger audience, or at least targeting myself towards that younger audience, I'm no longer competing with these big channels, and I can really take that subsect of the market, which is why I was able to blow up so quick.
Yeah.
But that's why I started Nate Wealth. I just thought, man, there's like an opportunity here. Everybody I was talking to convinced me to do it, so I did it, and obviously it paid off, and I was super happy. And eventually, it evolved, right? I had an editor that I was working with. We eventually partnered up with. It was actually Belinda, because I think she approached him, and then she saw my channel, and it just kind of made sense for us to go together. I would do strategy, he would do editing, and then that evolved into a full done-for-you YouTube agency that at its peak was around like 30K a month revenue, which was pretty sweet. And I eventually realized, you know what, this isn't what I want to do. I would rather just stick to, strategy, get creative, do the things that I like to do, as opposed to, managing employees and maybe offering more that I can really handle in terms of like, what I can really do.
Right.
Like people think it's maybe easy. Oh, you're good at something, just outsource the things you aren't as good at or can't do yourself. Like if I'm doing strategy, I can't edit, I can't write, I can't do thumbnails. Like it's just too much to have more than one client doing that. So people are like, oh, just outsource. But then you have to outsource to remote employees that you can't really manage. You have to pay them. If they mess up on a deadline, it becomes your fault, and you have to take
Right.
on that responsibility. It's a lot more, and that's really any business. It's just a lot more than people really think it is, like when they first start out. And that's cool. Like, I'm glad I did it. It wasn't for me. So that's like sort of the business that came out of YouTube, and now it's more of just like I use it for my personal brand. Like, I get on podcasts like this, which is cool.
Yeah.
Uh, I get to meet people. People find me through the channel. They're just more convinced to work with me because they're like, oh, I've seen a couple of your videos. They were super helpful.
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense because, of course, you know me and Lynn and Chastine Amplify Views. We had an agency and ran a similar offer, and it was definitely a struggle to
It's tough,
manage.
wasn't it?
Once you get like
Yeah.
multiple clients, like one client's like okay, you're chilling. You get multiple clients, things start to escalate pretty fast because you gotta, like you said, manage deadlines and stuff becomes your fault when you can't handle a lot of stuff sometimes. So it is pretty tough to do, but
Yeah. What I found as well is that like there are ways to make it work. Like you basically have to just systemize like crazy. You have to there's always a way to fix something. Like you can never play the card of like, well, it's impossible to fix this. I should quit.
yeah,
For me though, it was like I'm so deep in it. I had like 6, 7, 8 clients. Like I'm also working in the business. Like I am the lead strategist. So I can't just like dip out of my lead strategy role to just sit back and like systemize everything. I have to be systemizing little bits while I also deliver. And then at a
yeah,
certain point, it just became too stressful. And I had clients across multiple time zones. I mean, I work a lot, mind you. Like I'm working weekends, some holidays. Like I told you before we started recording this, I was up till like 3 or 4 last night.
yeah,
Like it happens sometimes. I'm cool with that. But at a certain point, if I'm getting texts at like 2 a.m. and I have to scramble, like I'm like in bed just chilling, I'm like winding down. It's like, oh, I got a text at 2 a.m. from an Australian client or like a client in Bali because of no blame to them because of time zones. It's just
yeah.
not something I want to do. I want, as much as a lot of people say, oh, you should be working, like you definitely want a work-life balance. Like at a certain point, you're gonna get tired of just working, working, working. You gotta be able to enjoy yourself sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But I want to bring it back to the Nate Wells channel. It's a question I just had off the top of my head here. How did you kind of get to that editing style? Because that style you started with was very unique, and then I think that definitely appealed to that younger audience, like you were talking about earlier. So how did you kind of get to that editing style?
I mean, honestly, it was like a lot of it was I just took what I did on my game dev channel because I edited everything myself on my game dev channel, and knowing what I knew about YouTube, especially at the time, it's like, well, I have to like have all these fast cuts. I have to do all these cool animations because like that's just what I needed to do, at the time, and
Hmm.
also being in the game dev niche just to compete with everybody else doing the same thing. I had to do it better. So I just basically said, you know what? I got a lot of young viewers on my game dev channel. If I'm trying to appeal to young viewers on the Nate Wealth channel, why don't I just do the same thing? Because that's also like just what I would want from my channel. I want a certain standard to be upheld, and that's just what I want. So I just went
Yeah.
ahead and did it.
Okay.
I mean, the alternative is like I have a raw video and I'm trying to like show that to an 18-year-old that kind of already like people talk about attention spans. A lot of like appealing to a young audience if you have an educational channel is really just entertaining and motivating them. I would say more than like half the comments on my first Nate Wealth video were not, wow, this was so helpful. It was helpful, but most of them were like, wow, this motivated me to start my channel. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So a lot of these younger viewers are not going in to get a 30-minute masterclass raw with a whiteboard. They're going in because they want to like just get entertained and like the video looked cool and it will motivate them to start their own channel. And there's some value in there mixed in kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, for just creating a YouTube video from scratch on a new channel, whatever, or even for a Nate Wealth video or for clients, could you guarantee a video to go viral?
Not a first video. New channels now are so different than they were, I would say, like a year and a half, 2 years ago when I started Nate Wealth.
Yeah.
What anecdotally I'm finding, and also, obviously I'm talking to plenty of other strategists and creators. Like new channels are just so cooked right now, to be honest with you. And that's not to say you can't blow up on YouTube. That's to say like a first video is just probably not realistic because YouTube's at a point right now or they're really, really cracking down on, bot, spam, AI channels just because so many more are popping up than they were like 2 years ago. So what a lot of people will find is that, your first video is going to could get like 3 impressions for the first 3 weeks. And then maybe after the fourth week, it like starts to kind of pick up. So I don't worry about success in that standpoint. It's more about, in the long term. If I have a client that wants to blow up like ASAP and is only willing to post 2 videos, then like it's just not realistic. You know what I mean? Because anything
Hmm.
could happen with those 2 videos. You could maybe we post them and we're like, oh, we should have just done this better, and then we fix that on the third or fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh or eighth video. Maybe the topic's just too saturated and we didn't realize it. Like there's a lot of things you can overlook. You really do have to just play the long game, and that's not to say you have to post 100 videos and expect 0 views at all of them and be okay with it. It's more like you just got to keep posting and keep getting better, and at a certain point you can't not get views if you just keep iterating and keep getting better. You're never necessarily always going to get it right on the very first try, because you can speculate all you want, but the only real way you're going to be able to get the data you need to make the right choices, like all the right choices on a YouTube video, is if you post and then you iterate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And what about like in a more established channel for somebody who already has 10, 20, 30,000 subscribers? Could you make a video on their channel that would go viral? Could you guarantee that?
Yeah, those are the clients that I prefer, because there's already so much data out there, and it's very, depending on the client, it can be very, very easy to just take like 1 or 2 videos to just like blow them up, because they already have all these videos that they've done. Let's say they're getting 2,000 views a video, and I see you can improve this area, this area, this area, this area. All we have to do is improve those areas, and then in terms of an idea, kind of model what's worked in the past, or like kind of bank off of that, and then you can get a lot of views. This is exactly what I did for Alicia's channel. So Alicia was averaging around, I think, like 2 to 5. I'd say like 3 or 4 thousand views a video. A couple
Hmm.
outliers here. These were her 2 most viewed videos, which was awesome. They did a great job with these. And this video here was the second video I worked on for Alicia, and we got over 85,000 views. Literally all I did, she had a catalog of videos she had posted. A lot of them, 1, 2,000 views. All I did was improve her hooks, her writing, her thumbnail, and her packaging. And we took a topic, which was landing pages that had done really, really well in the past, and just banked off of that and made it better. Like it's just simple. You just have to, it's not simple, but you just have to iterate. And if you
Yeah.
can iterate, if there's all this data, YouTube just becomes so much easier at the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So for creating like this viral video or just a good video in general, what's your full process? Like where do you start and then how does it all unfold?
So, it always starts with the idea, because no matter what, if you don't have a good, like this is so cliche, but if you don't have a good idea, nothing else really matters. Like no amount of good editing. There's so many creators. Let me just preface with this. There's so many videos being published every day. If someone's on the YouTube homepage, they can click any video on said homepage. Like there's just unlimited videos for them to go to.
Yep.
So no amount of good editing or an attractive, high CTR, colorful thumbnail is gonna like make them click, right? It doesn't matter how good your script is. Like literally nothing matters unless you have like a really, really good idea. So that's where we start. To pick a good idea, it needs to be something obviously interesting to your target audience, but it also can't be something that they've seen too many times before. So let's say, a video like how to make 10K a month. Like that's a good idea. That's like really helpful to a certain target audience. Probably like they'd be interested. You can make a good video out of it. The only thing is, the first people that are going to get your video recommended are people that have watched lots of similar videos to that particular video. And there's like already a billion videos about how to make 10K a month. And also, a lot of those videos are made by guys like Iman Gadzhi and Alex Hormozy, like millionaires, people with tons of money, tons of businesses. Realistically, you are not going to make a better video than any of those people. And even if those guys didn't make those videos, there's still a million other videos that people have watched that are probably going to be on par with yours. So at that point, no matter, even if it's like an interesting idea, like no one's going to care because people have seen it a billion times already. So that's like step one. Step two is this idea, not even step two, but just like you also have to consider this idea of total addressable market. So the video, like how to make 10K a month, it's got a pretty big total addressable market, because let's say you made that video perfect and it was the only video of its kind. like anyone could watch that. Like I would watch that. You would watch that. My sister would
Yeah.
probably watch that, right? Versus a video that's like how to create a good lead magnet for your YouTube sales funnel. Like that's very, very small total addressable market, right? But you need a balance there because yes, big total addressable market for the how to make 10K a month, but it's been done 2 billion times already. And also you're not going to do it better than the millionaires that have made that video already. The YouTube sales funnel video, very, very small total addressable market. There's probably 0 videos on that on YouTube. And then you have to look at, all right, well, this is a smaller total addressable market. Is there a way to make that total addressable market bigger while still being the only video of its kind? That's kind of the balance you want to find. You don't want to, you want to go down to a point where like you're making a unique concept, but you don't want to go too small of a total addressable market that there's like no audience. Because like that YouTube sales funnel video, max 100 views. Like you're not going to get more than 100 views with that video. Maybe 200 if we're lucky. Like no matter how good you make the video, it's not going to be, you know, they're not going to YouTube's not going to magically find viewers for that video. Like there's just not viewers that watch that type of content on YouTube, right?
Right.
So that's the biggest things you have to consider. And then obviously you got to make the video. I always have a thumbnail sketch in mind before I, you know, make the video because it's a lot harder. Again, pretty cliche, but once you make a video, it's a lot harder to like get creative with a thumbnail once your video is like fully edited. Because what if you're like, oh, I should have done this. This would have been such a cool thumbnail, but then your video is like fully edited and exported. It's like, well, I'm not going to go back and re-record and change things. Like there's just no point.
Right,
it's a lot easier to edit a Photoshop file than go sit down, turn all your lights on, get the camera going, and then record, re-script. Like it's just a hassle. So I have a thumbnail sketch, maybe not even a final thumbnail, but just like a thumbnail sketch. And then I script it out. Record the video, send it off to an editor, and yeah, that's about it.
That's the process.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, YouTube is a process, but notice how like I spent like 15, 20 minutes, maybe not that long. I spent a long time talking about like how to come up with an idea. It's just because like that's all that matters. Your editing matters a lot less than you think it does. Obviously, you shouldn't have like really horrible, shitty, like slow, clunky, loud editing. Like you don't want low quality editing. But if you like spend $200 more on an editor and you're already spending $300 an edit in like the finance niche, like you're not gonna get more views. It's like you're not getting views. You're not getting views because your edits aren't good. You're not getting views because you're competing with channels that are, you know, run by people that are making better videos than you. Like if you're trying to compete with Iman Gadzhi and make broad finance content and you're like 16 years old, you're not going to get views. Like you just can't. Like who's going to pick your video over the Iman Gadzhi video?
Yeah.
Literally nobody. Unless unless your unique angles, you've made like $1 million at 16, then that's different because now you're unique. Right? It's this whole idea of like supply and demand. Just because there's a bunch of demand doesn't mean you're going to get views if you make a good video. Because if the supply is too high, like who's going to pick your video over other people's?
So overall, finding that balance between the total addressable market and finding that unique angle, which ultimately is the idea, you'd say that is the most important thing out of the packaging, out of the content, out of everything, right?
Yeah, because once you have a good idea, it's a lot easier to come up with like a cool thumbnail. You know what I mean? It doesn't even have to be a cool thumbnail. It just like has to be a thumbnail that at that point it's not, how can I come up with a unique, cool thumbnail? It becomes, how can I make a thumbnail that just makes sense? You know what I mean? That's so much simpler. Just because the idea is good, people aren't looking at the thumbnail and like not seeing the title. Like they're going to see the title first. They're going to read it. And if the idea is cool, like everything else matters so much less. Because naturally the idea is good. You're going to have better retention because people are going to stay for either the information or the entertainment. Naturally, you're going to have a better script. The edit doesn't really matter that much after that. You're going to get just better viewer feedback and responses just because, you know, the idea is cool. That's why people watch a video, not because they want to see cool editing necessarily.
Yeah, for sure. So then how many ideas would you come up with for one video?
So, I mean, just as many as I can. It's more like whatever just comes to mind, I'll write down, and then it's all about like validating that idea. You don't need necessarily like, I mean, keyword research is cool. Like, I'll use vidIQ sometimes, but what it really comes down to is just like a quick YouTube search of your idea you can pretty much gauge whether or not it's like it's been done too many times. Like if I look how to make 10K a month, a billion videos, like I'll never run out of videos. Like
Right.
that's a sign to me that, you know what, maybe I shouldn't make this video, especially because the top 5 videos are all by millionaires and I'm not a millionaire, so I'm not going to make a better video than these guys. If I look up how to make 10K a month as a 15-year-old, well, maybe there's only like 2 videos, and maybe I can make my video better than theirs because I don't know, I can have better editing or a better thumbnail, or I can just make the 3rd video because those videos are pretty old. So it really doesn't have to be that complicated. You just kind of have to look at it like, you have to look at it logically. When you first post a video, the people that are getting your video recommended to them are people sort of like the most core group of an audience, right? Because YouTube knows, let's say you post a self-improvement video, naturally it's going to get recommended to people that watch a lot of self-improvement videos because logically YouTube knows those people have a higher chance of watching and staying on YouTube longer than like a random dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you have that self-improvement video, it gets recommended to Joe Schmo, who knows if he'll watch it? And if he doesn't watch it, then like, well, YouTube doesn't make money, right? YouTube would rather make money. So they're going to recommend the video to people that watch a lot of self-improvement content. And the people that watch the most and or a lot of self-improvement content have definitely seen all the most popular videos in the niche, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to make a video, how to make 10K a month, and it's been done by all these popular dudes, it's going to get recommended to that core group, and they're not going to watch it because they've already seen it 5 times already.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. Now, building kind of off of this, you've done both entertainment and educational content over the years. Do you think one is better, or is it better to mix them? What do you think is the right balance?
So naturally, educational content is going to have a lower total addressable market. Like if you made the perfect educational video, you're going to get less views than the perfect entertainment video. It's exactly why Mr. Beast can get 100 million videos, and the top guys in the educational niches, like throw out like Alex Hormozy, he gets a ton of views. But I mean, let's see what his most viewed video is. I guarantee it's not 100 million. It's 4 million views, and Alex Hormozy, I would argue, is one of the biggest, if not the biggest names in like educational YouTube, period. His most viewed video only has 4 million views, right?
That's pretty.
Whereas
That's
Mr.
actually
Beast,
crazy.
every video gets 100, like close to 100 million views. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because naturally, most people on YouTube are not there to, a lot of people are there to learn things, but not everybody. Like imagine you're just on your phone trying to kill time. Maybe I know you're super business minded, so maybe you're watching like a finance video, but a lot of people are just gonna watch like, I don't know, like Skibbity Toilet, or they're gonna watch Mr. Beast. They're gonna watch like anything else that's not like, they can just turn their brain off and enjoy. Like I'll do that.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's
Yeah.
fun. I mean, that's just what people do. So none's better than the other. It just really depends on what your goals are. Like if your goal is to, again, reach a mass market, well, you probably want to go for entertainment content, mix in maybe a bit of value. Or like, let's say you're selling like t-shirts, right? You probably go for entertainment content because then you can get, way more viewers, and then just kind of mix in like, oh, by the way, I sell these t-shirts, and then you go sell the t-shirts, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing like, I don't know, lead generation services or like cold email, well, no, you're not going to make entertainment content. That would make no sense because who are you going to sell to? Like some kids? No, you need to sell to like a certain avatar of people. Then
Right.
yeah, you're going to go for the educational content. It really just depends on what your goals are. They're both good in different ways. You're always going to get more views with entertainment content, assuming you actually have a good idea, make the video good, everything we've already talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. We touched about this briefly earlier, but how much does this editing really matter? I think you kind of said that it doesn't matter too much as long as you have like a good idea because everything else will kind of follow. But you've had like phenomenal editing on a lot of your videos, so what can you say to that then?
Yeah, I mean, I'll rephrase that. It does matter. I mean, I did say, how do I say this? It does matter, but it doesn't matter as much as a lot of people think it does. If you're making an educational video and you're like, I want to make my editing 10% better so I can get 10% more views, like that's not going to happen. It's like there's a certain standard of editing for most niches that you kind of have to meet. For like a documentary niche, like let's say like you're trying to compete with Fern, obviously the standard is super high. If
Right.
you're trying to compete in the, I don't know, like the snowboarding niche, well, like more editing, the standard is low. Like having better editing is not going to help you out in that niche, but there is like a standard that you have to meet. For what I'm doing in my niche, there's not necessarily there is a standard of editing. It's like relatively high. The thing is, a lot of people in my niche, especially because I'm speaking to a younger audience, tend to associate good editing with like good YouTuber. Like imagine I'm out here telling people how to edit viral videos and my editing is shit. Like no
Yeah.
one's gonna believe me, right?
Yeah.
So in that situation, I really do have to have this really impressive editing. Just it's like social proof in a way. So just essentially, like in any niche, there's standards of editing that you have to meet. If you go beyond that standard a little bit, it's like not going to help you. It matters, but it doesn't matter, right? It just
Yeah.
really depends on what kind of content you're making.
I see. And then if you, let's just say that like here's the standard. If you went like a little bit above it, like you said, it wouldn't matter too much. But if you went like way above it, then would it make a big enough difference to get more views, get like a more loyal audience, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean it depends. I mean I would say Fern's a really good example of that, or Cypher as well. They make documentary style content instead of doing the same editing style everybody else does. They don't go from here to here. They go from here to like here, and obviously they differentiate themselves in that way. So yeah, there are ways to differentiate yourself in terms of editing, and it can make an impact. It just most people it's not going to matter if you're making lead generation funnel videos and you want to throw in 3D animations. It's not going to really do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's just no point.
Right.
It has to probably be for a channel with more of a mass market. Like documentary style videos can really be enjoyed by anybody. So if those 3D animations give you like a 20% increase in views, well, 20% of a million is like a lot. You know what I mean? Or 20% of 10 million views is a lot. Versus if you're only getting 1,000 views and you throw in 3D animations, maybe you go from 1,000 to like 1.2K per video. It's like, it's
Right.
not as much of a difference. And also you have to take it in the context of, well, can this editing like actually make my videos better? Versus like, you're not trying to like trick people into watching your videos. Like, can it actually make my videos better to watch? Like, Fern, the 3D animations allow you to understand the story better versus like you're making sales funnel videos, you throw in a 3D animation for no reason. It's like, well, I just came here for the sales funnel. Like I don't care about this. It's
Yeah.
not helping
Yeah.
me understand the concepts in the video any better.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I see that a lot of times with some smaller, like sales funnel channels, or just any sort of those types of channels that are more. They are naturally more niched and they are more educational, and they just have these these wild editing styles that just do not belong. And it's
Yeah.
I don't
There's
know.
just no point.
Yeah,
It's just distracting at a certain point.
doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but does retention matter?
Yeah, of course. Because if people leave your video, then YouTube sees that. It's called like a signal to YouTube. If people leave your video, why would YouTube recommend it to more people? YouTube wants to make money. They're a business. They're going to recommend your video to people that actually watch your video. And if no one watches your video for very long, like they're not going to keep recommending it.
Yeah. So, do you think there's like a standard of retention that people need to aim for? I know, like, obviously it depends on the niche and everything, but what's like a certain benchmark that you would aim for?
Like as high as possible. Whatever it is now, just make it higher. There's a lot of ways to improve it. Sometimes it is editing. Like, obviously, you can edit better to improve retention. But most of the time, it really just comes down to your idea. Like, if you have a mediocre idea and people dip off, as your video keeps going and you don't like it, more editing is not going to keep people dipping off for the most part. It's going to be like, well, you just need better content, right? Or you need to write better. Those are like the two biggest things I would say. Editing helps, but
Yeah.
yeah, like just get it as high as possible. In like the first 30 seconds, it is niche dependent, but like definitely benchmark it. Like, I mean, it really depends because when your video is new, if you're like only getting 60% viewers staying in the first 30 seconds, it's a lot different than if you have a million views and getting 60% staying in the first 30 seconds. Because as YouTube recommends your video to more and more people, you go from that core group that has watched 20 other finance videos to a broader and broader audience. And maybe you get to viewers that have like never watched a finance video. So naturally they're going to watch less and kind of bring all your metrics down. So there really is no like specific number. Just like get it as high as possible. I mean, like in a lot of educational niches, I like to go for like 60 to 70% once the video's kind of gotten past that core group, but really just get it as high as possible. Whatever it is now, it's not high enough. Just get it higher.
Got it. Now, how do you view storytelling and script writing in some of those videos? Is that obviously that plays a role into getting higher retention, but how do you view that into increasing it?
I think the way I associate storytelling is it's not even necessarily like telling a story. It's not like you got a sales funnel video and you got to be like, 3 years ago, I actually was in Bali and I learned about sales funnels from a rock. Like that's like not what storytelling is. Storytelling is simply just like the progression or flow of your script. If you're going to make a video about how to make 10K a month, storytelling means that you have a beginning, middle, and end, or you have a logical flow to your story. You're not going, well, you need a niche. Oh, but also you need to have a passion. And then also you need an employee to start this business. Like you're going in a logical flow. It's like you got to have an idea. Now that you have an idea, you know what's missing. You have to niche down that idea, because if you don't niche down that idea, you're screwed. Once you've niched down that idea, you're going to make a website. Once you have the website, you're going to start putting up products. And it's like a very logical flow of things. And the way it ideally works is you have different sections of your video, like different chapters. For example, find your idea, get a niche, website, products, right? Those are like different sections. And each section kind of banks on the last section. It's not like a top 10 video where it's like you can watch 2 of them and be like, all right, I'm satisfied. It has to be more like, all right, I have my idea, but I'm screwed if I don't watch this next part, right? Now that I have niched down, well, I need to also watch this next part because like I need a website. I also need to watch this next part. And you just keep going. You keep rehooking and building off of those sections, because otherwise people will just be like, all right, I've had enough. I'll leave. Every section needs to build on each one until that final goal, and people can't really be satisfied until that final goal. You need to basically keep building off of, the information you've given in the video or the entertainment or whatever, in a way that makes people happy with the value that they've gotten, so they want to keep getting more, but not satisfied that they click off. It's really just as easy as like a logical progression towards the final goal of the video. If you're making entertainment content, resolution should obviously be at the end. You shouldn't have them like, I don't know, kill the dragon in the start of the video, and then like the rest of the video is like bullshit. Like that makes no sense. Or if it's a video, how to make 10K a month as a student, well, the final solution should not be here. It should be like at the end. People should not be satisfied until they've realized how they make 10K a month as a student. The information needs to flow logically and build off of each other.
I got it. That makes a lot of sense. Switching gears here a little bit, do you use AI in any aspect of YouTube?
Yeah, yeah. ChatGPT is helpful. I wouldn't ever have ChatGPT write a script verbatim, because you're gonna sound like everybody else using ChatGPT. And also AI doesn't sound good in my opinion. But yeah,
So
editors that I've worked with too will just like use AI images or animations. Like it's cool. It's just a tool, I feel like.
yeah, yeah. Do you think that like ChatGPT or somebody who kind of builds off of GPT could make a software that, or even just an AI that gets really good at script writing and could replace like script writers?
Not replace. I mean, maybe eventually. I don't know. I'm not like a machine learning expert. Maybe that'd be possible, but there are good platforms right now that are just like either really good foundations for script writing. Like I use Lex sometimes, or I'll use Subscriber. Really good platforms. But I would never like use the scripts they write. It's more of like, all right, I could write this script myself. Why don't I just voice note and then tell it, make this a good script, and it gives me like a good foundation, and then I just go and edit it. Or if there's like a certain section that I'm like, you know what, how can I make this sound better? Or there's like information I don't want to research. Can you just research this for me? And I'll just like have ChatGPT or Lex or Subscriber just do it for me.
Yeah.
It's like a tool.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I got you. Now, we've talked all about long form in this podcast so far, but what are your thoughts on short form content, specifically on YouTube, but also in general, short form content?
Well, from my personal experience and from just what I know about social media, educational content in short form don't mix a lot of the time, because if we're talking like total addressable market, naturally you're going to have less viewers with educational content. Let's say like entertainment content long form is like this, educational is probably like this. With short form, entertainment content is this, Educational content is this. Like no one scrolls on Instagram Reels to like learn how to grow on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
They learn to like what, or they scroll to like watch brain rot or like hear cool stories or like get news. They're not going on there to like learn anything really, right? They would just go to YouTube for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, short form content is great. There's just like a time and a place. I feel like if you're trying to, especially if it's something niche, if you're trying to like do educational content, I would just make long form videos. It's like so much better.
Yeah.
Maybe you reach on it, you will reach the same, if not more people, likely, and you're going to be delivering better value to a point where people come in obviously a lot more warmed up to you, and it's just more beneficial overall.
Yeah. Do you do any short form currently on any of your channels or your clients' channels?
Yeah, I've started getting into short form. I have a short form client that I've picked up recently, stuff that I'll pick up in the future as well. It's just more about diversifying and broadening my skill set, like we talked about.
Yeah. Okay. What does your day to day look like as a strategist? I mean, no,
Well,
I was just to preface this. Obviously, I know you're in college, so it's a little bit different than a lot of people where
yeah,
it's kind of your full time thing. So you're in college. Just expand upon that.
yeah. So, I mean, second semester's coming around. I have a couple online classes, but a few of mine are in person. So I'll probably wake up, go to class. In class, I'm working. I'm not really doing the class work. Let's be honest here. But I'm there. I'm there
Yeah.
a lot of the time, and I'm just working. I take meetings throughout the day. Sometimes some sales calls, and then I just 5 6 p.m. or even like 4. A lot of times I'll take meetings throughout the day, get whatever work done I need to get done, and then, later in the day, I'm like not actively on my laptop, but I have my phone, Slack notifications on. If someone texts me, like I just text them back right away. A lot of the work that I do doesn't require me to be like actively, putting in labor. It's more about like a creative mind and
Mm,
communication. So a lot of that, like it's very possible for me if I need to just like not be on my laptop for a lot of the day, like it works out because I can just respond to people, or I just have like my laptop with me wherever I'm going.
right. Right. Now, big question, but how much money do you make?
I would say this last year it was around like 200 grand in revenue. Not all of that's profit, but a lot of that was from the agency. That's everything from like clients to what the agency was and sponsorships and ad revenue and whatever else that I've been doing.
That's awesome. What's the next level for you with YouTube?
I mean, I like to think I'm good at YouTube, but there's always room to grow. I think that I would love to, however I can do it, just get to a point where I can work with like the largest channels on the platform. I'm not there yet, maybe not even in a year, but at a certain point, like I know I'll get to that level. So just really
Yeah,
want to keep working towards that and keep working with people that I really like working with.
gotcha. What are some of your goals then to get to that level? Like any
Well,
individuals or
not in particular. I mean, it's just people. It's partially about like why I want to work with big creators, but for 2025, a lot of what I want to do too is work with people that I like, personalities that I really like,
mm,
because I haven't always done that in the past. I've kind of just been like, all right, I will open, I'll be available to really anybody. And then there's people that like, our personalities don't mix. Because a lot of what I do is like, yeah, a lot of it's creativity, but a lot of it's like communication too, and like really just how you gel with somebody. And there have been times where it just doesn't gel. Like no fault to me, no fault to the other person, but really just like getting clients that I really enjoy. I'm in college. I'm working a ton, but college also has its own experiences to offer. So, the next 3 or 4 years, I'm looking to just keep making, what I'm making, be happier while I do it, and then after college, I'll be able to just really expand and grow a, crazy 100K a month business like everybody else wants to.
nice, of course. Taking it back, how did you learn YouTube? Was it mainly from that game development channel, or where did it all stem from?
Yeah, it was that, and then I started doing some freelance editing for people, and I got people hitting me up for like consultations, which was pretty cool. Like I wasn't charging a lot of money at all because I was,
Mm.
I didn't know what I was doing. But I mean, I did know what I was doing, but I was less experienced, younger.
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it was. Like a lot of YouTube videos. I wish I'd bought some YouTube courses that would have helped. Obviously, buying the right ones would have made sense, or like paying for mentorships, but I didn't know. I just watched YouTube videos and then posted. And, the more videos you post, the more you learn. So it's exactly why people say post 100 videos. Like your first channel, you should just keep posting videos. Just figure it out, because no amount of like YouTube videos you watch, as much as I make content about how to grow on YouTube, if you just watch videos about how to grow on YouTube and don't post videos, like it's not going to work. You got to post videos and learn. You got to iterate. You just got to figure stuff out as you go, and then use those YouTube videos, courses, mentorships, whatever else is like a supplement to whatever you're doing.
Yeah. So then the formula for success is to watch Nate Wealth videos, take action on that, and then pay
Yeah,
you, right? Yeah.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
More of it is take action. Take action. Watch some Nate Wealth videos to help you out.
Yep.
If it makes sense, bring me on as your lead strategist.
Yes, sir. So, who are some of your favorite YouTubers right now?
I'm a huge fan. Not an educational channel. I really like Mr. Nightmare. Used to watch Mr. Nightmare like 7 years ago, and now that I'm in college, I don't know. My roommate and I just like started watching it. I watch it a lot too.
Yeah.
It scares me when I sleep, which is like pretty exhilarating. So I like to turn it on. It's a good time, and I really like. Oh man, I like a lot of YouTubers, honestly. Let me pull up my YouTube right now, see what I can find. I used to watch a lot more like educational content. Now, like obviously like there's a lot of value to be had. I like to just like figure stuff out now. Like instead of watching basically YouTube has become like for me a platform of like, well, I'm learning. I used to watch a ton of Alex Hormozy, like awesome channel, changed literally everything for me. A lot of Film Booth, a lot of Finzar, like all these big guys that like were in the space before I was as well, and like that was super nice. But now YouTube for me is like, I learn more by just like doing stuff because I'm like further along in the process, and I figure stuff out. And YouTube
Right.
is more just like entertainment now. Like, dude, I
Mm.
watch like Isaac Punts. I don't know if you've heard of that YouTube channel.
I've
He's like
seen
he's
him.
like a
Yeah.
punter. Yeah, he's
I've
like a
seen him.
punter. He makes NFL videos that are like 2 minutes long. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
I just got into snowboarding, so I watch a lot of snowboarding compilations. Those are sweet.
Nice.
Mr. Nightmare, like I said. Uh, oh man, yeah, just a lot of different channels where I can just like wind down and like just get entertained. I don't if I can spend 20 minutes watching like a educational video, I would rather just like work for 20 minutes because like I'll get more done. I'll feel more productive that way.
Yeah. When you're creating ideas, packaging videos for either Nate Wealth or your clients' channels, are there any specific niches that you like to take from that are kind of maybe untapped or you find has the most like creativity or outliers that you can pull from?
Game dev, because with game dev, well, I'm super familiar with game dev, and also no one else knows about game dev. But game dev is great because game dev doesn't just appeal to game developers; it appeals to everybody.
Mm.
Because everybody plays video games or has played a video game or like is interested in them. Like, pretty much everybody. It's like the biggest niche on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And if you create a game dev video the right way, there's like two ways you can make it. Either you can make it, and this is not a right or wrong way, I should rephrase that, but you can either make a game dev video for game devs where you're talking about, first I added this occlusion culling to prevent my vertices from clipping through the camera. Like you use all this jargon, you make your video for game devs because you are a game dev. Or you can be like, haha, coding is nerd shit. I'm making a video game. Let's add a gun to this. You know what I mean? You can
Yeah.
package it two different ways. And the people that do it, for just a general broad audience, like people watch those videos, but like people don't pull from those niches because like I feel like they just don't know about the game dev niche. But I know about it because I started there. So
Yeah.
I love the game dev niche.
Nice. Okay. Actually, I want to take it back to that channel. What were How many views were you getting on that channel?
I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe like 3 or 4 million views total on that channel. Probably about like 3 or 4 million views, I think total. The
Pretty
thing about the
solid.
game dev niche as well, it's a great niche. I would love to get back into it. The only issue, like actually, it would be the niche I would get back into. The only issue is to make a good video. This goes back to like you got to have a good idea. Well, in the game dev niche, you got to have a good game because if you have a shitty game, no one cares. You know what I mean? It has to look really really
Mm,
good too. So you probably have to make a 3D game a lot of the time, which is cool. It's possible, but making games takes so long, so long. I would spend 2 3 months making a little game for a video. Sometimes I would scrap it, and then I would have to edit the video and script it and get all the footage. And it was just like it was so much. Like no one has good upload schedules in the game dev niche. Yeah,
that
that would be my play. Like eventually, I want to just partner with a game studio that's making like this sweet AAA insane game, and then just like run their YouTube channel because that would be so easy. Because the game just looks good, people will click on it. Like
that would be
you
sick.
gotta have you gotta have good videos too. Let me show you this guy. I think we met briefly a while ago when I was doing game dev. Like super talented dude, really talented game dev, good YouTuber. But like look at this game. Look at how awesome this looks, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the video is good, but he doesn't even have any like crazy editing or anything like that. It's literally just the game looks insane and he's like doing cool stuff to make the game. Like this would be so possible to do if I just partnered with like a game dev studio. So that would
Yeah.
be you ask about goals, that's like a long-term goal of mine. I would love to partner with like an insane
Mm,
game studio, like an indie studio, so like it's like small enough where I can be really personal with them. But like a studio making a really sweet game like that is just so easy to market on YouTube and make videos about.
that'd be really awesome.
It would be.
Yeah. So, what what's something that you believe about YouTube that nobody else really does? What are some hot takes?
I don't know. I don't think I have that many hot takes. I mean, I try to be pretty reasonable about it. I feel like a lot of, you know, I'm guilty of this too, but like people will use like absolutes when it comes to like growing on YouTube. Like, never do this. You should always do this. Like that's
Yeah.
never true, obviously. It's more of just like a generalization if it's like a pretty broad concept. I don't know if I actually, hot take is that analytics don't matter to an extent. They matter, but people take them like hard numbers. Like they say CTR needs to be 10% to blow up. Like that's not true at all. Because I have videos with 2% CTR that have like over 1 million views, or 500,000, or 300,000, 200,000 views. Because the thing is, as your video gets more and more views, it's getting more impressions, and it's getting recommended to people outside of that core group that probably will engage with your content more. So naturally, and YouTube understands this too, it's not going to be like, oh, some people didn't engage with this video, we're going to stop recommending it. Because YouTube knows, well, these people are less likely to engage anyway, so we're going to go with a bigger sample size. So
Yeah.
as YouTube recommends your video to more and more people, your stats are going to go down. Like you're going to have worse CTR. That's probably the most volatile metric. Like that's going to go down the most. Your ABD is going to go down. Your likes to views ratio is going to go down. Your comments to views ratio is going to go down. Like everything's just going to go down because naturally you're getting broader. So that's my hot take. You should always take your analytics in the context of what stage your video's at, and the best way you can do that is just compare it to your other videos. Like if on average you know your video has 1,000 views, if it gets like an 8% CTR at that point, like it blows up, then like that's like pretty good. But you should never be like, oh, an 8% CTR in any niche will blow me up, because like what if a 2% CTR blows you up because like you know other metrics are better. Like it's just
Yeah.
all general. You just have
Yeah.
to focus on making your videos as good as possible and just looking at it logically in terms of like, well, these are the people that are on YouTube. These are the other videos that have been made. Where does my video rank? How can I make it better? And so on.
Yeah, I think the number one, actually it's two words, but the biggest like two words that YouTubers or YouTube strategists can use is it depends, because there's so many
Yeah.
variables that go into videos. Like there's always some sort of
Yeah.
factor that plays into it.
Yeah. You just have to have like, you have to look at it creatively. You can't always just look at numbers and be like, well, yeah, this is true. Like the numbers are misleading most of the time, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. They
You
can give
should
you
look at them. Just take them in context. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They give you a picture, but like you said, look at it all in a from a 30,000 foot view with context.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's wrap this up. What would you say is your best YouTube advice in one sentence, two sentences?
Um, 2 sentences. Post videos and iterate over those videos. Like
Mm,
just post videos, and you can there's always places you can be better. Just always be better. And then also, uh, yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing. Understand this is more than 2 sentences, but I think it's important. Understand like who you're making videos for. If you're making videos for an audience that's too small, you can never like get views, right? So go for a bigger audience. Understand like supply and demand, total addressable market. Like watch this podcast interview over. That would be my thing. Watch this podcast interview over. Understand total addressable market, supply and demand, and iterate and make better videos as you go. There's always things
mm,
you can make better. If you understand those first two things and you just keep making your videos better, you can't lose at a certain point.
yeah, that was some sauce. Appreciate you
Was the
coming on the
sauce?
podcast. Yeah,
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 dude. Thanks for having me.
yeah. This was a lot of fun. Glad we could do this, and yeah.